Hi, everybody. Just a quick note about Unit 4 expectations. We're now halfway through the course. A lot of people have not submitted their Unit 3 assignments, and therefore their midterm marks are lower than you probably would like. The simple solution is to hand those assignments in. Um, and yeah, we can talk about that individually for sure. Um, as we move into units 4, 5, 6, now that the world wars are behind us, um, a lot of the content of the course is more about the creation of the Canadian identity, particularly about the tension. Canada is a nation traditionally seen as being built on this tension between English settlers and French settlers and Indigenous communities. And of course, that was true in the 16th, 17th, 18th century, but it remained true in the 20th century. And that's what this unit looks at. So, my advice, as always, is you need to read the entire unit. You just need that context to answer questions well. If you don't read it, then your answers seem like you're just kind of throwing ideas around on a piece of paper, and there's not a lot of context, and then you get a lot of partial marks. Um, so the focus will be internally. I think it's A4 and A5. Um, there's two major interest groups who we're going to be looking at. The first is the French Canadians, and the focal point of A4 will be on this event known as the October Crisis, which was really a crisis. This year, for those of you who were following, there was a moment in time when the convoy was in full force in Ottawa, and our Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau had to basically suspend civil liberties. And the first time this happened was with his father when he was a prime minister in the October crisis of 1970, when uh, a group of Quebec citizens were basically acting as terrorists, and there was fear of a civil war because they were bombing English Canada, basically. Um, in defense of their own interests. So you're going to take a quick look at that. And then A5 will focus on the history of Indigenous interests from 1950 to 1970. So, as usual, follow the success criteria carefully. As long as you're following those rubrics, you cannot go wrong. Usually, you have to read those assignments fairly carefully because there's 4 or 5 details. So, for instance, I know that for the October crisis, they ask you to write a news report. Make sure you know what perspective they want you to write it for. Make sure you know what the target audience is. It's all there. All that information is there. But you really need to take your time and go through each detail and not miss anything, because that's what I see a lot of. And on a lot of midterm reports I wrote, or one of the codes that's used is the proper completion of assignments is not happening. And I would argue that's true for almost everyone in this course. And I get it, it's challenging because you don't get any lessons and you don't really know what I'm looking for. But that's why you really have to treat the success criteria and the rubrics as your standard. Because if you stray from there, you and I are no longer speaking a common language. But as long as you stick to the roadmap that those provide, you should do pretty well. Okay. There's only a few people who have actually reached out and contacted me at my um, at sorry, I have 25 seconds left. At my morning meetings or my Google Meet, I only have 2 or 3 people who show up, which suggests that nobody really needs help. But please, if you need help with content, then you can reach out through email, and I can help you. So please do that. Good luck, everybody.